Continuing the part 2 of the Battery Waste Management Rule 2022, I, Dr. Harshit Sinha, your host, once again going to highlight that these rules supersede the Battery Management and Handling Rules of 2001, introducing extended producer responsibility, that is EPR obligation, collection target, and recycling standard to address the growing challenge of the battery waste management. Now let us explore in detail. Slide 2. Transitional provisions, scope and application with a key definition. The Battery Waste Management Rule 2022 aims to regulate the life cycle of batteries to ensure environmental sustainability. The framework is structured around the three main elements and each playing a vital role in the regulation, implementation and enforcement. The first one is the transitional provisions. These provisions guide the shift from the previous regulation to the new rules. First rules were published on August 24, 2022, replacing the Battery Management and Handling Rule 2001. Producers are required to submit their initial extended producer responsibility, that is EPR plan, for financial year 2022-23 within 3 months of the publication. Additionally, the online portal development is mandated with the CPCB directed to establish a centralized system within 6 months to monitor the compliance. A phased implementation approach has also been adopted to allow a smooth transition. Producer must implement their EPR target in stages, ensuring an orderly shift to the new norms. The second is related with the scope and application. The rules have a wide coverage applying to producer, importers, dealer, consumer entities involved in the waste collection and recycler regardless of battery type. They encompasses all battery types including those used in electronic, automobiles and industrial application. Irrespective of the chemistry, form or use, a specific assumption underlying the rules is that every battery introduced in the market will eventually become waste. Hence, producer must ensure the collection and the proper disposal of recycling of used batteries. And the third one is related with the key definitions. Three critical definitions clarify the scope of the compliance. First is battery, refers to a new or used battery including its component and the chemical makeup capable of storing and supplying energy. The second is waste battery, that includes all end-of-life batteries that are no longer usable and need to be disposed of or recycled. And the third one is related with the extended producer responsibility, assigned producer the responsibility for the environmentally sound management of batteries. This includes collection, recycling and refurbishment to minimize the environmental impact. Slide 3. Producer obligations. Under the Battery Waste Management Rule 2022, producer obligations are clear outlined to ensure the environmental compliance and accountability throughout the battery life cycle. Firstly, the registration is mandatory. Producer must register on the centralized online portal by submitting Form 1A, and certificates of registration is issued via Form 1B. This formalizes their role under the regulatory framework. Next, producers are required to submit an extended producer responsibility EPR plan. This is done annually using Form 1C and must be submitted to the Central Pollution Control Board by 30th June for batteries manufactured in the preceding financial year. The rule also specifies collections and recycling target. Producer must achieve the recycling or refurbishment target listed in Schedule 2. These targets are linked to number and type of batteries placed in the market and aims to minimize the environmental harm through the responsible disposal. And lastly, producer must file annual return in Form 3 detailing the volume of waste batteries collected, recycled and refurbished. This submission is due by 30th June of the next financial year and supports the transparency and monitoring. Slide 4. Recycle material obligation and automotive and industrial battery recycling target. The Battery Waste Management Rule 2022 mandates the specific obligation on the use of recycled material and set clear targets for recycling automotive and industrial batteries to promote a circular economy and reduce the environmental impact. The first one is recycle material obligation. The producers are required to ensure a minimum usage of domestically recycled material in the production of a new batteries. This obligation is assessed based on the total weight of the battery placed in the market. For imported batteries, the producer must fulfill this requirement either by using the recycled content from domestic source or by exporting an equivalent quantity of recycled materials. The targets are progressively stricter across the year as reflected in the graph, aiming to boost domestic recycling efforts and reducing the dependency on a virgin material. The second is related with the automotive and industrial battery recycling target. For automotive and industrial battery, recycling target takes effect from 2024 to 25. These targets stipulate the minimum required percentage of recycled material used in the new batteries. Initially, the threshold is set to 35% and is expected to increase to 40% by 2026 to 27. These targets are relatively higher due to the already existed well-established recycling infrastructure for such batteries, particularly lead-acid batteries. The earlier implementation of targets of these battery categories underscore the government's focuses on harnessing existing capabilities to drive sustainability. Under the Battery Waste Management Rule 2022, consumers hold a vital role in ensuring the safe and sustainable disposal of the waste batteries. Their active participation is essential for the success of recycling ecosystem. First, the consumer are required to practice separate disposal of waste batteries. This means batteries should not be discarded along with the regular or a mixed waste, particularly from domestic or municipal waste stream. Segregation at the source ensures batteries do not pose chemical hazards or contaminate other waste. The next is proper disposal. Is emphasized. Consumer must ensure that used batteries are handed over only to authorized entities involved in collection, refurbishment, or recycling. This step ensured that the batteries are proceed environmentally sound manner, minimizes potential harm caused by the hazardous substance like lead, mercury, or cadmium. Furthermore, the consumer contribute directly to the environmental protection by initiating proper battery waste segregation. Their awareness and responsible action helps in reducing the environmental footprints and support circular economy objective by enabling efficient recycling. Slide 6. Plastic Waste Management Authority's role. Under the Battery Waste Management Rule 2022, Public Waste Management PWMAs plays a crucial role in ensuring the efficient and environmentally sound handling of the waste batteries. Their first responsibility is a collection. PWMA must collect waste batteries from designated collection point and through a systematic waste segregation process. This helps in preventing batteries from ending up in landfill or mixed waste streams where they could pose environmental and health hazards. The next is related with PWMA are required to hand over the collected batteries to appropriate entities. This includes producer, their authorized representative or agency engaged in refurbishment or recycling. Proper handover ensures that the batteries are processed in compliance with environmental regulation and supports the recycling chain. Additionally, PWMA have a option to undertake recycling or refurbish themselves provided they have a necessary infrastructure, facilities and registration. This option enables local authorities to contribute more directly to circular economy goal, especially in areas with existing waste management capability. In essence, PWMA Act, or we can say that Plastic Waste Management Authority Rule Act, as a vital link between the consumer, producer and recycler. Their responsibility helps in closing the loop of batteries waste management, minimizing environmental risk and promoting the reuse and recovery of valuable materials. Slide 7. Collection, Segregation and Treatment Entities. Under the Battery Waste Management Rule 2022, entities engaged in the collection, segregation and treatment of the waste batteries play a vital operational role in sustainable management of the battery. Their foremost responsibility is a proper handover. These entities must ensure that the collected waste batteries are transferred only to be registered refurbisher or recycler. This step is critical to prevent unregulated or unsafe disposal practice and to maintain traceability of the waste material. They must also ensure standard compliance, meaning all treatment and segregation activities must be conducted in facilities that meet the standards and the technical guidelines prescribed by the Central Pollution Control Board. This ensures environmentally sound processing and safety for the workers and the community. Additionally, guiding adherence is mandatory. All operational producers must strictly follow CPCB issued guidance to ensure environmental safety and effectively waste management. This includes protocol for handling hazardous component and ensuring non-contamination of the other waste stream. These entities act as an essential bridge between the consumer collection points and the final processing system. Their role not only facilitates the smooth movement of the waste batteries through the recycling chain, but also ensure that environmental and safety regulations are upheld throughout the process. Slide 8. Refurbisher and Recycler Registration and Responsibility. Under the Battery Waste Management Rule 2022, both the refurbisher and the recycler are integral to the responsible management of the battery waste and are required to fulfill the specific registration and operational responsibility. The first one is Refurbisher Registration and Responsibilities. Refurbisher must register with the respective State Pollution Control Board, that is SPCB, via the centralized portal by submitting Form 2A. They must ensure that their operational adhere to the Central Pollution Control Board, that is CPCB guidelines for a safe and complaint refurbishing activities. Importantly, they need handle any waste generated during the refurbishing in accordance with the hazardous and other waste rule of 2016 and the other applicable regulations such as the solid waste management rule and the plastic waste management rule. Additionally, refurbishers are required to submit quarterly returns using Form 4, which provide data on refurbished quantities and the waste management practice. Another is related with the recycler registration and responsibility. The recycler are also need to register online with the State Pollution Control Board using Form 2A. They must process batteries as per the CPCB prescribed recycling norms, ensuring environmentally sound operation. Recyclers are obligated to manage any hazardous byproduct according to the Hazardous and Other Waste Rule 2016. Moreover, recycler must meet the material-wise recovery percentage target as stipulated in the Battery Waste Management Rule. They are also required to submit quarterly report in the Form 4, which document the quantities and batteries recycled and materials recovered. Slide 9. Recovery target for the recyclers. The The recovery target for the recyclers under the Battery Waste Management Rule 2022 defines the minimum percentage of the total battery weightage that must be recovered during the recycling. These targets vary by battery type, portable, automotive, industrial, and the electric vehicles, that is EV, and increase progressively over the years. For portable batteries, the recovery target starts at around 75% in 2023 to 2024, rising to 85% by 2026 to 2027 onward. Automotive and industrial batteries have slightly lower targets, beginning near 60% with the modest increase in the later years. Electric vehicle batteries are assigned high target due to their valuable material content and environmental significance, rising from the approximately 70% to over 80%. These targets are subject to periodic review by the committees under Rule 15, ensuring updates based on the scientific and technological progress. The goal is to enhance the material recovery, reduce the environmental impact, and support a circular economy in battery production, waste, and management. In essence, these targets are designed to ensure that recyclers maximize the retrieval of valuable materials such as lithium, cobalt, and nickel, which are critical for sustainable battery manufacturing. Meeting these targets supports the circular economy, converts the natural resources, and reduces the environmental footprints. Slide 10. Central Pollution Control Board functions. The Central Pollution Control Board function, that is CPCB, plays a pivotal role in implementing India's plastic waste management rule, especially in regulating producer responsibility, promoting transparency, and ensuring the compliance. For producer registration, the CPCB oversees the centralized registration process for entities operating across multiple states, ensuring uniform and linking registration to extended producer responsibility, that is EPR obligations. It mandates submission of essential details such as PAN, GST, SIN, and optional Aadhaar information. In terms of information sharing, CPCB maintains a public portal where the registered producer details are published, enhancing the transparency and accountability. The board also ensured that the producer discloses relevant information through acceptable display methods like QR codes, brochure, or unique identification number on packaging. For compliance monitoring, CPCB conducts periodic review and audit, leveraging real-time data, submitting more producer. Non-compliance is addressed through defined penalties under the Environmental Protection Act, reinforcing regulatory adherence. Regarding guiding development, CPCB formulates detailed instruction for labeling, registration, environmental compensation, and EPR implementation. These guidelines are updated regularly to adapt to technological advancement, policy shift, and stakeholders' feedback. Slide 11. CPCB Additional Responsibility. The Central Pollution Control Board, CPCB, has been entrusted with several additional responsibility under the evolving framework of the waste management regulation to ensure efficient implementation, transparency, and technological integration. One of the key responsibilities includes development of an online portal that facilitates the exchange of extended producer responsibility certificate. This centralized platform enables seamlessly coordination and data management among the stakeholders, strengthening the compliance mechanism. The CPCB is also tasked with the data publication, particularly releasing the list of the producer who fails to meet their EPR target. It consolidates that analysis compliance data received from the State Pollution Control Board, ensuring robust oversight and public accountability. To further enhance the rule enforcement, the CPCB is responsible for constituting and leading an implementation committee. This committee oversees the operational execution of regulation, facilitates interagency coordination, and ensures alignment with the national waste management goal. Additionally, CPCB undertakes technological review to assess the innovations and the best practices related to battery and the plastic waste management. These review considered techno-economic viability and sustainability, guiding the adoption of the efficient, scalable technologies across the sector. Slide 12, State Pollution Control Functions. The State Pollution Control Board have assumed expanded role under the plastic waste management, particularly in the early registration, compliance verification, and reporting and stakeholder engagement. Earlier registration is a crucial function wherein the State Pollution Control Board register producer, importer, and brand owners operating within their jurisdiction. This step ensures that all stakeholders are brought under the regulatory purview from the outset and can align their operations with the extended producer responsibility EPR norms. The SPCB are also entrusted with the compliance verification, including the evaluation of action plan, checking fulfillment of EPR targets, inspecting facilities, and assessing the proper recycling or disposal of the plastic waste. Their findings are instrumental in identifying non-compliance and initiating necessary action. Reporting forms a key administrative function where the SPCB collects, validates, and submits the compliance data to the Central Pollution Control Board. This facilitates centralized monitoring and the development of the national waste management policy. In terms of stakeholder engagement, the State Pollution Control Board serves as a bridge between the regulatory framework and on-ground actors. They raise awareness, conduct training program, and facilitate the dialogue among the PIDOs, recyclers, local bodies, and the public to promote the collective responsibility. Slide 13, Centralized Online Portal. The Centralized Online Portal introduced under the amended Waste Management Rule represent a significant step towards a digitized governance and a streamlined compliance for the producer, importer, recycler, and refurbisher. As per the establishment timeline, the Central Pollution Control Board is mandated to set up online system within the 6 months from the date of commencement of the rule. This portal will facilitate registration and the submission of the compliance returns, promoting timely reporting transparency. A critical feature of this portal is a material balance, which ensures a robust mechanism for tracking the inflow and outflow of the material, particularly waste batteries, in alignment with the extended producer responsibility obligations. This mechanism enables regulators to verify that the entities are meeting their material recovery and recycling target. The portal also acts as a unified platform with the State Pollution Control Board using the same system for registering all entries involved in the waste processing, recycling, and refurbishment. The harmonization minimizing duplication and fosters nationwide standardization. Finally, the portal functions as a comprehensive information repository serving as a single point of access of all official data, rules, and implementation guidelines. It supports real-time update, ensuring all stakeholders, regulators, and producers alike remains informed and compliant with the current regulatory expectations. Slide 14, Prohibition on the heavy metal content. The revised regulation of the prohibition on the heavy metal content in battery emphasizes reducing environmental and health hazard from toxic substance. One of the key stipulations is the mercury restriction, which prohibits the manufacturer, importer, and the sale of all batteries, including button cell, containing more than 0.0005% mercury by weight. This move targets the phase out of the mercury due to its toxic effect on ecosystem and human health. In addition, the cadmium restriction set to a limit of 0.002% cadmium by weight in batteries, particularly addressing its risk to soil and the groundwater contamination. This limit applies to all types of battery except those explicitly exempted. An important exemption is on the button battery exceptions. While button cells are typically used in hearing aids and medical equipment, they are permitted to exceed mercury limit until a specific alternative become viable, allowing critical sector time to adapt. Similarly, the rules provide a portable battery exceptions, allowing the continued use of cadmium in portable batteries used in emergency system, alarms and medical device where the substitute may still be under development. Slide 15. Labeling requirement and import adjustment factor. The recent regulatory guideline outline specific labeling requirements are related with all batteries whether sold independently or abandoned in device must be marked with crossed out wheeled bin symbol clearly indicating that the product should not be disposed of with the regular municipal waste. This symbol must legibly and printed on the battery or its packaging align with the global waste management practice. If a battery contains hazardous substances such as lead, cadmium, mercury beyond the specific threshold, it is mandatory to display the corresponding chemical symbols underneath the bin logo. This marking alert users and waste handlers to the environmental risk and ensure safer segregation and recycling. For small batteries where the space limitations make such marking impractical, the symbol may instead be placed on the packaging or accompanying documentation, offering flexibility while maintaining the compliance. In parallel, the introduction of the import adjustment factor addresses the disparities between the volume of the imported batteries and their entry into the domestic market. The IAF allows importers to adjust their EPR liabilities based on the actual sale or usage, ensuring realistic and fair compliance target. This distinction is critically for the differentiating between the domestic waste batteries, which follow a direct market pathway, imported batteries, which may face delay or indirect distribution. Slide 16. Registration process for producers. The registration process for producers under the EPR framework is a streamlined structure producer aimed at ensuring accountability and traceability in the battery and the plastic waste management. The process begins with the application submission, where the producer are required to complete and submit Form 1A via centralized online portal. This portal will act as a single window interface designed to facilitate ease of registration and data integration of all stakeholders. Following submission, the application process phase is undertaken by the Central Pollution Control Board, that is CPCB. The CPCB is mandated to review and the process each application within 2 weeks from the date of submission, ensuring efficiency and timely onboarding the producer into the compliance framework. Upon successful verification, the CPCB issue registration certificate in Form 1B. This certificate remains valid for a period of 5 years, enabling producer to operate and fulfill their EPR responsibility within the legal recognized framework. Before the expire of the registration, producer must initiate the renewal process. The renewal application should be filled at least 60 days prior to the certificate expire to ensure uninterrupted compliance. This proactive approach reduces the risk of non-compliance and administrative delay, promoting continuity in regulatory adherence and sustainable business practice. Slide 17. Registration process for recycler or refurbisher. The registration process of recycler and refurbisher is a critical regulatory mechanism designed to ensure effective waste management and environmental compliance under the extended producer responsibility regime. The process begins with the application submission, where the entities are required to submit a one-time application using Form 2A to the respective state pollution control board. This application marks the formal initiation of their operations within the regulatory framework. Next, the State Pollution Control Board undertakes the verification process. Under this stage, the board thoroughly examines the application details, including the infrastructure and operational protocol, to ensure that the facility complies with the environmental standard and waste handling norms. Upon successful verification, the State Pollution Control Board issue a registration certificate in Form 2B through the centralized online portal. This certification legally enables recycler and refurbisher to operate under the defined EPR obligation and contribute to the circular goal. To maintain the regulatory integrity, periodic audits are conducted in the State Pollution Control Board. These inspections and audits ensure continuous compliance with the environmental regulations and assess whether the registered entities adhere to the best practice in the waste management. This multi-stage process ensures traceable, promote sustainable operation, and reinforce the credibility and accountability of the recycler and refurbisher in India, evolving the waste governance ecosystem. Slide 18, Producer Reporting Requirement. The producer reporting requirement under EPR framework mandates specific reporting obligation for producer to ensure accountability in the management of the battery waste. These reporting requirements are essential for maintaining transparency and regulatory compliance. First, the EPR plan. The producer must submit their EPR plan through Form 1C by 30th June every year. This report includes comprehensive details of the batteries manufactured during the preceding financial year. The plan forms the basis of setting recycling target and outline the producer responsibility for the collection and recycling of the used battery. Second, the annual return. Filled through Form 3, this report is due 13th June of the next financial year. It contains data on the quantity of the waste battery collected and processed, whether the recycled, refurbished, or otherwise treated. This return allows regulatory authorities to track compliance with the EPR targets and assess the environmental performance. Third is registration changes. Producers are obligated to report any changes in their EPR registration, detailed as and when they occur. This includes changes in the company's detailed contact information or operations. Timely update ensure that the registration database remain accurate and up to date. The next is related with the cessation notice. In this event, the permanent cessation of the battery production or marked availability, producer must submit a cessation notice. This notification ensured that authorities are informed about the market exist and can account for them in regulatory planning. Slide 19, Recycler Refurbisher Reporting Requirement. Under the extended producer responsibility regime, authorized, the recycler and refurbisher play a critical role in managing battery waste sustainability. To ensure transparency, efficiency, and regulatory compliance, they are required to follow a specific reporting obligation across the various domains. First, quarterly returns. The recyclers and the refurbisher must file quarterly return detailing the volume and the type of battery waste they have received, processed, and disposal of. These returns offer insight into the operational efficiency and help track the flow of the waste through authorized channels. Second, material recovery reporting. A key requirement involves reporting the quantity of material recovered during the recycling process. This includes data on recovered metal, plastic, and other components, such as reporting support, resource recovery target, and enables the registration to assess the effectiveness of the recycling technologies and practices. Third is waste management reporting. Recycler must maintain records and submit information related to the management of the residual waste generated during the processing. This includes treatment, storage, or disposal of non-recyclable function, ensuring that the environmental norms are adhered to even for byproduct. And the fourth one is EPR certificate transaction. An essential part of the compliance mechanism involves EPR certificate transaction. Recycler refurbishers generate EPR certificate based on the quantity of eligible material processed and must report all transactions involving these certificates, including issuance, sale, or transfer to the producer for EPR target fulfillment. So here we end this presentation and now dive to the third part of this presentation where we discuss the Battery Waste Management Rule 2022 with EPR.